I was considering doing the shadow under the chin, and then I was like, I don't know what color to use. I felt really like attached to the abstract color distillation that I did, and I was like, I'm not sure what color I should use for that because I don't want to introduce something completely random. Um, yeah, so I was like, how much am I allowed to kind of like deviate from what's in this little distillation? So I tried to stick really close to it.
Question: are you ready for a curveball?
Yes, I hope.
All right, we're gonna make 3 copies of this. So from here, if we go back to the cube assignment, come on, obey. What you can do is take that color palette that you decided that you liked and then take it a little bit further by seeing what happens if we do the MEDCubes assignment to it. So halfway to black, and then pull up color balance and just make this one cooler, right? And that becomes the shadow you can use down here if you want. And then same thing here. So we go quarter way to black, maybe make it a little bit warmer. So now we have the 1, 2, 3 read happening with the color palette that you picked. You can just grab that blue there, which is probably what I would use, and paint it in these spots. It's a very subtle thing, but it's stylized, it's fun, and it's following the same stuff that we learned about earlier on. And it seems like that it's happening a little bit in there. There's a little bit of coolness and gray in that shadow. That's how you would do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That is some juicy stuff. I like it.
If you want to maintain that the top light is cooler than the other ambient light, then yeah, you could make the shadow warmer. And then even emphasize the cool light up top, and we get more into this later on with the light appeal assignment. You can emphasize the coolness by picking a bright sky blue or something and set that layer to overlay. And you just do this and then lower the opacity on that a little bit. And now it's like definitely fluorescent neon blue in the light source, as what's happening here. And then if you want to be even more stylized with it, with your like painterly approach, you could even take a glowing reddish orange to vibrate against that cool light source. So if you just put that here, maybe make it darker, even more red, and then erase out a little bit. And now it's like got that splash art quality that we see all the time. Yeah, playing with a cool light source and then warm shadow is really fun to do. So if we turn it off, it's kind of gray, boring, boom, way more fun.
Very nice.
Yeah, and you'll see that this specific color palette in real life too, if you have like a fluorescent light source with some kind of warm light source below it, etc. So
for all of the color palettes, I tend to want to kind of force what appears to be the quote unquote right skin tone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like you can see it in each one, like that red, the orange, that desaturated pink, like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like there is no one right skin tone. You could take even a skin tone that a real person has and put them under a different light, and it will completely change. You can make somebody look red with a red light. You can make someone look purple with the purple light. So there's no one right skin tone. If anything, what you should be focusing on is making sure that the forms and the values are reading well with the shadows and the highlights and all that stuff. And everything else is going to follow the rules of color that we established of like, if it gets brighter, shift the hue, so on and so forth on both sides. And then you maintain those value groups and it'll look fine. Regarding, the right skin tone and it has to be warm, yeah, it doesn't have to be, because you could just take all that and shift all the hues to the opposites. It still looks cool. Now it looks like it's from Mass Effect or something, Does that help with that thought?
Yeah,
We'll pretend that that's not there. I would say, okay, well, it looks like there's like, I'm gonna say it out loud. There's this kind of like gray. It's between orange and yellow, or yellowish gray between orange and yellow. All right, cool. What else do we have? We have, and I'm gonna say it out loud, Oh, there's like a brown color. Brown, where is that? All right, it's just below the yellow. We have this reddish color. Okay, that's a little bit further down towards red, more saturated and bright. And what is this? Okay, that looks like it's a curved ball situation where it's teal. Cool. Right. And then from here, I would just kind of vocalize what these colors are. All right. I turn everything off, take a break, come back, and try to run through it again. So, what was the first one? I said it out loud, didn't I? It was grayish between red and yellow, something like this. Maybe it was a little bit more towards orange. I don't know. Something like that. And then there was that red color, that reddish color is like a little bit lower, like this. And at this point, I don't remember the other ones. Cool, let's do it again. So then you repeat that process. See, I was pretty close with that background color, but you would repeat that process until you don't have to go back to that reference again. If you want to like become super familiar with it, if you can vocalize what the color is and repeat that process, maybe over the course of 20 minutes, it'll be with you forever, right? And then you'll know exactly where to look for it. But that's only if you really want to embed these specific color palettes so that you know they're always a part of you. Me personally, I just intuitively go with the flow and like adjust accordingly. Start with one thing, end up with something completely different. But it sounds like you coming from a more analytical standpoint on this specific subject, and that's how I would train that. There's a way to train everything for the most part, I think.
Okay,
So, yeah.
very good. Yeah, and I definitely admire that intuitiveness. I would definitely like to be
Hmm.
more like that. And in terms of like the design entertainment industry, you know, say you like to start with some, you know, one thing, end up with something completely different.